Hello fellow tacticians and welcome to a raid guide for the Prime Nauseous Rotbone. Let's begin. Here we have the character pane pulled up for Nauseous Rotbone. Now, expect some variances as we go through some of these numbers, as this is showing Legendary 2. Not only do the rare, epic, and legendary difficulties all have different valuations, but it could also vary due to whatever legendary tier that you're on, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, maybe even 4. Same thing applies with epic and rare. We're going to be looking at some of the different aspects on this pane that are going to be really relevant to you as you do this raid, and things that you need to keep in mind as we move forward, just because they have the biggest impact. We're going to be skipping over some of the other things that you'll see on this page, such as the Contagions of Nurgle, Big Target, Resilient, Healer, and those aspects, because they don't really have as much of an impact on how you're going to do this boss, hopefully. Taking a look at the first thing is that Rotbone will have the following adds with him: the Blightlord Terminators and the Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers are going to be a really annoying source of damage, but they're fairly squishy, whereas the Blightlord Terminators do have Terminator armor, have Resilient, so they're definitely going to be playing a bigger aspect in this fight and encounter. Now, for this difficulty specifically, they're Silver 3, so they shouldn't give you too much of a hard time, but we'll talk about some things that will come up later that could be quite annoying. They do have the Contagions of Nurgle trait, Resilient, Terminator armor, and they also have the Haze of Corruption and Flail Swing, very similar to Malleus. The big thing that we're going to take a note here is the Contagions of Nurgle. You also see that they have them, along with Rotbone having it. This can stack, can reduce your armor up to 40%, and if they do get some hits off, can really put a damper on your party, for sure. Now we're going to look at the Tainted Northesium. An adjacent friendly chaos unit that takes lethal damage has a 75% chance to resurrect with 2,000 health. That number can vary depending on the difficulty, like we talked about, even if overkilled. Can only be triggered once per turn. So this can be one of those annoying things. You finally kill one of those Terminators, and they get brought right back to life. Can be very obnoxious for you to deal with, and can really slow down your damage on this run. This is a 75% chance, so the likelihood of it happening, pretty dang high. Now, the most important trait that we're going to talk about is Boss Adjutant. This unit takes 66% reduced damage. At the end of each turn, he will lose health, 1% of his current health, for each time that he was attacked. Now, this is what makes this Prime, along with Gibbous Scraps, two of the biggest impeding bosses, or mini-bosses, for your progression as a guild, because they can soak up a lot of tokens if not done correctly. For example, I was previously assisting leading we're right around 110 ranked guild. We finally started coordinating our efforts and taking out some of these primes, and we actually, for the first time in a long time, were able to get the guild down to sub 100 ranking. So taking the right strategy to doing these bosses is crucial. Now, you'll see 66% reduced damage is extremely obnoxious to deal with. The big thing that you're going to want to do is really take advantage of that 1% current health loss. Now, how do you do that? If the boss starts taking less and less damage as you start going more and more down. Well, the big thing is you go in with multiple people at the same time, and you'll snapshot the boss's health. So if everybody goes in at max health, 336,000 in this case, if I hit the boss one time, right, I'm doing 3,600 damage at the end of the round. Now, multi-hits are going to be very important here, because you take somebody within a 6 multi-hit, 6 times 3,600, you start looking at that damage values really adding up. Now, we're going to show that a little bit later, but we're going to take a look at why you want to kill this boss in the first place, this mini-boss. If he's so obnoxious, why do we do him? Well, Mortarion is the hardest boss in the game for sure, and anything that you can do to make him weaker, you're going to want to do. The two big things that we're going to highlight here is reducing his armor, and that's something that you want to do with pretty much any boss at the higher echelons of difficulty, or even if you're having a slow point going through some of the other bosses, like the Tyranids at lower difficulties. For example, we really only kill the Armor Tyranid Prime on Epic to Legendary difficulty. Other guilds, if your damage is weaker, you might want to take it out a little earlier. However, for Mortarion, we always kill the Primes, because they are so obnoxious. Now, the armor is one thing, but the big thing we really want to highlight here is Revoltingly Resilient. If you reduce Nauseous Rotbone's health down to a certain point, he will trigger it after one more hit. Now, what this is when attacked, each hit after the first 3 hits, now mind you, this is already reduced, deals 50% less damage than the previous hit. The first 3 hits of each attack deal no more damage, the next hit 50%, 25 hit, or percent, etc. So, this we already know that Mortarion does not bode well, really, for multi-hitters like Malgan Ra. Malgan Ra being an exception because he's so strong, right? But you want to bring lower hitters that are able to deal a lot of damage. Thaddeus is a prime example. Revoltingly Resilient, if you leave both primes up, would trigger after just 1 hit, meaning your damage profile is going to be extremely limited. So that's everything that we have going into looking at this boss, right? We've seen all the theory going in. Let's see actually handling this in practice. For this run, I'm going to be bringing Ravos just to handle all of these summons here that he has and hopefully really get myself an advantage. You're going to be summoning in some summons. Each has a 2-hit, so they're going to be able to deal a max, theoretically, of 10 hits to the boss. I ran Eldrion just for the additional damage. And just in case I wasn't able to kill any of the ads off, I could use Doom to really help myself. Archimatos was probably not the best decision here. I should have brought Bellator instead, but the principle still works the same. And Shosil has some of the best ways to deal multi-hits from range for this kind of encounter because you're able to really keep spawning different summons out to hit Rotbone as much as possible. So let's hop on in. So we're going to take a look at this, and I immediately move Ravos forward and summon his Overwatch here. Now, all these ads are going to run in and start pretty much dying to him, and that's going to be great. We didn't get all of them, but the shield drone was able to take out one, but it was immediately rezzed. Now it's an Eldrion in to get application for Doom, killed the ad out, and now we're going to start layering damage here. Now he's going to start smacking and killing someone by bloodletters, and I'm going to wait a little bit until enough of them died to really get a great Yarick summon off. And that should be coming here in just this turn, I believe, but we're going to speed things up a little bit because you're already seeing the initial core of the gameplay loop. Now everybody's going to be attacking and really applying. Now look, the damage values that you're seeing aren't high until right about now. Boom, that massive chunk of damage, that was the boss Adjutant trait really coming into play there and really knocking down the boss's health. And that's going to be absolutely crucial here for your damage dealing because everybody right now, because of that trait, is hitting like a wet noodle. So we are seeing the drone soak up a lot of hits. That's why Shosil is really great here. Higher difficulties definitely going to be crucial to try to soak up and prevent your damage dealers from dying as much as possible. At the end of that, we're able to deal 195,000 damage, so a little over half of the boss's HP. And if you bring in a friend, you can see that we are able to deal well more than that 336,000 or 36 health that he had. So really, 2 people was plenty enough. We actually sent in 3. I was the one that went in over the top and kind of ruined it a little bit and wasted a token. But we really wanted to be sure because if you leave him with 100,000 health left, what's 1% of 100,000? It's 1k, and so you're really losing a lot of that valuation on the boss Adjutant trait. Really slows things down a lot, so definitely something to keep in mind, and hopefully something was in this video was helpful. Any comments, feedback, concerns, questions, please leave them below. Feel free to message me on Discord. My DMs are always open. And until next time, everybody, peace.